So, I've been putting this off for a month, maybe a bit longer. I did film my first go, but then I was like, no, that's pretty shit. I didn't like it. So, today, I have not plucked up the courage, but I've kind of said, right, enough is enough. I'm just going to do it. I will most likely ramble on, so my plan is to create an audio version of this. I'll get into the middle of the camera as well. So I'll get an audio version of this, so if for any reason you guys actually want to listen to me for more than 10 minutes, and for what I've got to say, then you can put it on as like a podcast, and go about your day, and listen to a bunch of stuff I will ramble on about. So, one of the reasons why I think I've been putting this off is, one, it's definitely because of imposter syndrome. When I put up a question sticker on my story a couple of weeks back, again, probably about a month and a half ago, and someone asked me, what have I learned from last year and what my business plans are for this year? And I replied with, this is quite a loaded question. Do you want to see YouTube, or do you want to see me do a solo podcast about it? And a lot of you guys wanted to see a YouTube video. So here it is. So yeah, imposter syndrome is what's been holding me back from doing this. Number two, I don't see this as something that's quite, not like a toxic trait, I guess it kind of can be, is if I am filming, whether it's me, whether it's even a client, for some reason I'll come back home and I'll still feel like I haven't been productive, even though I have been. I don't know what it is. I just, for some reason, like, unless I am, having to travel for a couple of hours, filming a show, and then I come back home after like a 12, 14 hour day, then I'll feel like I've been somewhat productive. Even the key word, somewhat. So I've been putting this back because I feel like this isn't really something productive, and it's something that's just, I'm not going to get much return from it. But after speaking to one of my friends, who's also a videographer, he kind of encouraged me to just do it, because it's a way of journaling, but instead of writing down your thoughts and what you're going through, you're just vocalizing it. And I think that's possibly a better alternative to journaling, because when you journal, like, thoughts are still in your head. And I think if you kind of journal, if you do a journal vlog, I guess that could be a word. It's almost like you're just putting out your thoughts. So essentially, it'll be better for you. I don't know. So far so good. That's been 4 minutes and 15 seconds of me actually being able to speak proper sentences without losing my train of thought. Touch wood. So what we're going to start off with is, what have I learned from last year? Now, I haven't planned my answers for any of the questions I've been given. There's that one. There's another one I somehow still remember that was asked, and then I've got another one that a friend of mine asked me a couple of questions to hopefully make this a bit longer, because I don't know whether this will be like a 15-minute thing, it might be a 30-minute thing, or it could even be an hour. Let's hope it's not an hour. But lesson I learned from last year. Now, there's far too many lessons I've learned, so it's going to be very hard to pick one. So something I've learned, one thing that stands out is showing up every day. You probably just about see like the corner of a whiteboard right above my desk. And you may not have seen me share a few stories, a few things on my stories. If you're a close friend of me, you may have heard me speak about the 7 Japanese concepts of life. And the 2 that I seem to only remember, I need to try my hardest and remember the other 5 because I want to get them tattooed. The 2 I remember is Ikigai and Kaizen. So Ikigai is when someone asks you what's your Ikigai, it's basically what they mean is what's your purpose. What is your purpose for waking up every day? Now that's quite a deep question, because a lot of people will probably think, I don't know, like why am I waking up every day? So it's not like, I wouldn't say it's the end of the world if you don't have your Ikigai. But for me, my Ikigai is to create a service that helps businesses to obviously grow a following, grow brand presence, and to just be creative in what I do. I'd say my purpose is having this videography business. So much so that I tell people when I pick up my camera, it's almost like therapy. Not almost, it is therapy for me. Not like in a way that I'm depressed or I'm going through some hardships, but even when I am and I'm filming, I forget about everything. And when I spend, maybe a week, maybe worst case, like a whole month without picking up my camera or shooting, then I notice my mental health will start dropping. If I wasn't doing this, I don't know what I would be doing. If things, again, touch wood, if things dropped off like tomorrow and like it would be impossible for me to get back into it, then I honestly don't know what I would be doing besides online coaching. Even before online coaching became such a massive thing, I already had a thought about maybe being a PT, but I just never knew whether I've got the patience of teaching people from the ground up, as bad as it sounds, because everyone's got to start from somewhere. But it's definitely something I'd be interested in. When would I do it? I honestly don't know. At this point in time, my only focus is this, my videography business. Where I want it to get to, it's going to take a long time. A lot of grafting, maybe a lot of sacrifices. But again, this is my purpose. This is why I wake up every day. It's to build the dream that I want to build from this business, without going into too much detail. Unless, again, you're a close friend or you're a client, then you'll know where I want to get this business up to. And luckily, well, my goals for this year is right there, but I'm going to blur that out so none of you zoom in and have a look. So I need to remember to do that, or I'll just crop it in so it's a bit tighter around my head. I've also not bothered to clean up the background, just keep this raw, because raw is always good, as she says. So that's like the tangent I went into explaining what Ikigai is. Now Kaizen, Kaizen is to, the simplest way to put it is to show up every day. And that is something that I am so glad I did last year. Beginning of the year, I was struggling immensely. I wasn't getting booked. I was just about getting by. And it was extremely hard for me to literally wake up every day, sit on my desk and do work, like whatever it was. But came March and things just changed for the better. This specific client, he knows who he is if he's listening. I've told him before, like I owe him a lot. And like since we started working together, it's almost gonna be, it's gonna be a year this month since we've started working together. Since we started working, everything had just improved. Like, I was getting more inquiries, I was getting my name out there more often. I was working with people I started following when I first started my business. Things were just going well, and I owe a lot to that client. Luckily, I can also call him my friend as well, because we've got such a great working relationship. That we just help each other out when we need to. And I think adding on to that is something that I pride myself in within my business, is that I don't just show up, do the work, get paid. I invest into my clients in a way that I want to see them succeed, and I'm willing to go the extra mile to give them a hand. Maybe supply them with an extra few bits for nothing, just so that I know that within myself I've done everything I possibly can to help them out, and I'm not just done the bare minimum. Now, I'm not hating on people who do the bare minimum. That's just simply how they work. For me, I live and breathe this business. If you ask me what my day-to-day life looks like, you'd be like, that's fucking boring. But I'm a creature of habit. I'll wake up, do my fasted cardio, I'll come back home, have a shower, work, do probably about an hour and a half, have a bit of a break, have some food, another hour and a half, rinse and repeat, and then I'll go to the gym. Then I'll come back home, and then if I've got some energy, I'll still do some work, and then I'll go to bed. And that's basically what my Monday to Saturday looks like, besides obviously doing shoots. And I just get this weird sense of fulfillment from it. Because again, this is my ikigai, this is my purpose. And I couldn't see myself doing anything else. Besides, again, online coaching, but I still don't think I'd be getting the same amount of fulfillment as I would be doing this. I think the reason why I enjoy doing this job is because I get to show off my work. I get to express myself creatively. And it's, I think, deep down, when I was in high school and I was in primary school, that was the only time I could really express myself, was creatively. I was always quite creative in drawings or even just making up shit. I was never good at writing essays or even paragraphs. I was always the one kid who was kind of like looking around, like seeing everyone just heads down writing, and I'm just there, one sentence, I'll be like, yeah, I don't know what to do. So it's also the fact that I was always one of the quiet kids, I think. If you went to school with me, let me know if I was a quiet kid. Um, and I never really had like the spotlight or like, massive amounts of attention. So I'd say that this business is what's given me the attention and the spotlight that I didn't have when I was in high school and primary school. Um, in a way, it's a sense of validation, but I'd say it's not a bad sense of validation. It's a good sense. It's more of, yes, people will compliment on my work, and I fucking love it. Um, Especially quite big clients that I work with. I put a lot of pressure on myself, and when they say perfect, or you've done a really good job, then it's like, you know it's I don't believe it. I'm a bit, I get in a bit of disbelief, but again, a sense of imposter syndrome probably kicking in. But yeah, it's a sense of validation I get from it, and I think that's why I enjoy doing this, because I'm getting these feelings these feelings and this attention that I wasn't getting when I was in high school or primary school. But yeah, that's the tangent I went from explaining about Kaizen. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to change the battery on my camera, and then we are going to dabble into a bit of one more thing actually that I learned from last year, and then my goals for this year, without getting into too much detail. Okay, we are rolling again. So, the other thing I learned from last year is I didn't learn about this quote until this year, but I essentially applied the concept towards it. So something I told myself after I left my most recent job was that I'm never going back into employment again. I'm never gonna find myself trying to apply for a job, and I'm gonna do everything and anything I can to keep this business going, even if it means having to relocate back to Portugal, where my mum is and where my family is. Fingers crossed it doesn't get to that point, because it would be very hard to build the business from there, because videography is a very, very new thing in Portugal. Not many people actually do it as a full-time job unless they work for a celebrity or a music artist or something like that. But that's also something that I feel and know that is what separates me from everyone in the industry, or not maybe not from the industry, but from everyone around it, everyone in the industry around this sort of area. And that's not me talking down on everyone, because everyone's got their own uniqueness about their business. But I just feel like my unique point is that I'm willing to risk everything to make this work. That's one of the driving forces. Alongside also showing my dad as well that before he died, he was kind of transitioning into becoming self-employed. not as a taxi driver because he hated being called a taxi driver. He liked being called a chauffeur. It's just a posh taxi driver, to be honest. And I think he was doing like 2 or 3 days self-employed, and then 2 or 3 days and the road taxi firm. I think that was probably like in the early stages of my life where it planted a seed in my head to go self-employed. Because every child, every boy looks up to their dads, and wants to be like them. Unfortunately, I obviously only had like a small period of my life where I was like that. And then for the rest of it, it was just my mum. And I don't know if she's going to listen to this, or watch this, so if she is, hello. I owe a lot to my mum as well. She's done an incredible job to bring me up and my brother, and to do everything possible to, keep us happy, feed us, put a roof above our heads. And she has been the most supportive person I've known. Like, with anything, she's always said, look, if this is what you want to do, you have my support. No if, buts, or maybes. All absolutes. And the only unfortunate thing is that growing up, I didn't really have that father figure. I had people I knew who were, significantly older than me, that we just got along so well. Like my manager from when I did my apprenticeship, like I kind of saw him as a father figure because we just got along so well. I spoke to him about everything, and I learned a lot from him as well. And I don't know if I told him. I got a feeling I told him, but if I haven't and he's listening to this, whether or not, then I did see you as a father figure. Not in like, a very, very close way. It was more in the fact that I could speak to him about anything and everything and how I felt, and he would just tell me how it is. And I think that's why I might come across as quite a blunt person, is because I'm used to people telling me how it is. Whether it's, again, my manager from my apprenticeship or my business coach. I used to be someone who'd always sugarcoat things, but I think now people need to hear the truth, even if it's the hardest thing ever to say or to hear. And I can say from experience, it's not it's just not nice. I know it's not nice, but I think sometimes it has to be done. Because I used to lie a lot when I was a kid, and I'd always, get told off or get found out because of it. And I think because I lied so much, I was like on one end of the scale, but like at the extreme end. And as I've grown, I've trickled my way to the very extreme other end. So one end, you got lying all the time. Now the other extreme is being truthfully honest or brutally honest. And I think that's where I'm at the moment. Like, I will be brutally honest with people. And nowadays, a lot of people still don't like listening to the truth. They are all a bunch of snowflakes at this point in time. So whether you like it or not, if you do get offended by this, then you most likely are a snowflake yourself. And where was I going with this? This is the first time I've lost my train of thought now. yeah, so I've just been so used to people being honest with me. I can't seem to remember where it went from there. But yeah, I owe a lot to my mum, to my friends. Another thing as well, make sure you've got a support network that's strong as fuck. Um, I'm extremely lucky to have a group of friends who are supportive. You know, they've never really not supported me. And when I've been at my lowest, which was about between end of last year and beginning of this year, like it really made me realize that I am extremely lucky to have the people I have. Again, it was almost like almost a sense of imposter syndrome, being like, you know, why am I getting so much care and love for my friends? Like, what have I done to deserve it? But even if I haven't done anything to deserve it, it's just goes to show that these are your true friends, and you don't have to do anything in return for them to give you their love. I think, like, from this year onwards, it'll definitely be something that I'm going to work on doing, is, you know, show my appreciation to my friends a lot more. Because, like, we all know that we all appreciate each other, but it's more like actually showing it. You know, I've started hugging my friends instead of just giving them a fist bump or a handshake. I feel like us guys don't get hugged very often. And the first time I had like a proper hug with one of my friend's uncle, who's only a year or two older than me, so I'm not like hugging a 50-year-old, don't worry. I literally almost cried. I got like, my eyes were just about in tears, and it was just like an amazing, freeing feeling of just hugging someone and being hugged as well. And I don't think us guys get that a lot, so if you're one of my friends, expect a hug from me. So, business goals or plans for this year, without going into too much detail. I've got a figure in mind that I want to hit. All I'll say is it's above $4,000 a month. That's all I'm saying. No. All I'm saying is that it's between 4 and 10 grand a month. I want to work with 2 specific people. One who I've been, not consistently now, but I used to consistently watch when I first got into the gym. And another one is a guy I kind of looked up to before I started doing this photography, videography shit. I wanted to be a model before. I did like a portfolio shoot and everything. Didn't get any jobs from it. And then I started this, and usually a joke I tell people is, I used to want to be a model, but then I found out I am more successful behind the camera as opposed to being in front of the camera. So yeah, I used to want to be a model, and there's this one model that, you know, I used to look up to. I still kind of do, not in the same way though. That I'd really, really love to work with them. I think that would be a really cool goal to tick off. I want to work abroad as well. Um, I've done a shoot in Portugal, but that wasn't the sole purpose why I was there. So I don't really count that as working abroad. But I'd love to be paid to go to a different country and film or photograph something. Again, it'd be a pretty cool goal to do, to tick off. And a couple other stuff. In terms of business, not really anything that I can outline without telling what it is. So yes, that's the goals for this year. Now the other question I remember seeing, now it's going to be hard to believe because I'm literally just saying it out of memory, but someone else asked me if I'm on steroids. We've gone from business talk to a bit more personal / fitness talk. Now, no, I'm not on steroids. I know it's hard to believe. Although, if I speak to you at the gym, or if you're a close friend, then I do sometimes talk about it, like in a jokey way, especially if I come across like TikToks or posts about memes about taking steroids. I'm very lucky to have worked and work with lots of clients that are all in the fitness industry. So I've got an abundance of people who've got lots of extensive knowledge when it comes to PEDs. So I know, regardless who I go with, I'm always going to be in safe hands. Now, what would be the reason for going on it? I'd like to say that I'd only go on it if I decide to compete. I did get asked this question last week, I think, about whether I'd compete. And I said, I wouldn't say no to it. It's just the fact that this year I'm dedicating it to my business, and I feel like competing is like almost like a job in itself to be doing. And I know I don't have the capabilities for that at the moment. To go on prep, to be on PEDs and whatnot, and all the stress that comes from bodybuilding as it is, or going into a show. Maybe next year, maybe the year after that, I don't know. But no, I'm not on steroids. Just mass gainer and lots of food. But I've actually started my cut yesterday. So now I've gone from 3.3k a day to 2.3, which is a big cut. And doing 20 minutes of fasted cardio. And then I do my stretches in the morning, so when it comes to the evening when I work out, I don't really have to worry about stretching. I just do like a couple warm-ups. And then I fast until 11 o'clock. So it's currently 10:10, so I'm not far off. Doing this solo podcast / vlog thing is actually helping distract my hunger. And something I've realised from fasting is that, especially yesterday, the amount of mental focus I got from fasting was amazing. Like, the only thing I had was just a cup of tea at 6:30 in the morning. And that, maybe it was the tiniest boost of caffeine it gives me lasts until about 10:30, 11. And then I didn't fast till 11 on the dot. I started eating about 11:15. But the rest of the day, I just felt so zoned in on work. I barely got distracted. And it was almost it's a weird feeling. So definitely recommend people to fast. But yeah, so we'll be at 2.3k calories for 4 weeks. And then my coach will, sorry, I'm just getting a bit itchy. My coach will obviously monitor how I'm feeling, how things are, and then he did say we'll go a bit more aggressive for the next 4 weeks. And hopefully, by June time, I'm going to look in pretty fucking sick shape. Shape? Pretty fucking sick shape for a photo shoot. Which is something I am very, very excited for, because I've never done a photo shoot prep before. The good thing is it will kind of give me a bit of a feeling of what actual competition prep would be like, just not as extreme. And the reason why I'm doing a photo shoot prep is because last year all I wanted was to, everyone says it, to look good for the summer. And then after, I looked okay. My legs were nice and lean. I could see, the striations and everything like that. But going into a bulk at the end of last year, I was kind of like, that was a bit of a shit goal. Because I definitely did bottle it a couple of times. So this year, I thought, let's get into photo shoot prep and let's get photo shoot ready. Because even if I don't do a photo shoot, then it's going to stay ingrained in my mind, and I will subconsciously still work towards being the best I can look for a photo shoot. And that's what's going to be like the main driving force for this prep, I guess you could call it. And then obviously the byproduct will be I'll look in fucking good shape for the summer, which is what everyone wants. So yeah, that's the other question I remember being asked. And then I've got a couple of lists of questions which are more fitness based, I believe, from another friend. So I'm gonna have to look at them, answer them for you, and also have my tea. Where did your love of photography come from initially? So I started taking photos just on my phone of random shit, to be honest. I remember it was like the river, a pillar of stones, a goalpost, and I'd always put like, those fucking cringy motivational quotes on Instagram. And after a couple of times, I realised that I had an eye for detail that your average person would have. I was already thinking about the rule of thirds, composition, lighting, all of that, even though I didn't really know what it was, but I was thinking about it. And so when I started my apprenticeship, my first payday, I bought a camera. It was a Nikon, I sometimes say Nikon D3000, or yeah, 3000, £150. I was like, this is cool. I started taking photos of myself and my friend for our Instagrams, because it was also the time when I was taken more seriously I was taking my fashion sense more seriously. That's what I was trying to say. And I wanted to get into modelling, so we were just taking photos of each other for it. And then June time, 2019, I believe, or 18, no, 19 it was, I just thought, you know what, I really enjoy this. Let's put myself out there and see if there are any businesses or anyone who wants to get photos taken for money. So my first shoot, it was a removals company. Got paid £50 for like 5 hours of work, I think, which was like ideal, because going into the job, I was like, right, I don't know how much I want, but if I can get the equivalent of £10 an hour, I'll be happy with that. So like I was over the moon, and they even treated me to lunch. I loved it. So since that day, I was like, right, let's create a logo, let's create a business page, etc., etc. And the rest is history, really. So that's how my love for photography started. Where did your gym journey start, and have you figured out your why for doing it? So my gym journey started in year 9 summer holidays. It was actually a very, very good friend of mine, my closest friend, he knows who he is, who got me to sign up at a local gym in Hereford called Halo, and that's when I started it. I fell in love with it, to be honest. I don't know what it was. I just fell in love with going to the gym. And then about 3 years later, I started working out a bit more seriously. And ever since then, I've just been pretty serious with my training. But even more recently, I swapped to Elite Performance, which is more of a bodybuilding gym. And I'd say my training has been the best it's ever been. Like, I'm so much more intense with my workouts. Especially doing the bulk for my photo shoot prep, I've received, a handful of compliments from people, and I've told my friends, like, it's so fucking weird receiving compliments about my physique after 6 years of training. But I'm gonna take it. So if you've given me a compliment and you're listening / watching this, thank you very much. You've boosted my ego for a bit. But my why for doing it, my why at the time when I started was I just wanted to look like an absolute beast. But now, I don't really have a why. Besides, the why, the short, mid-term why is to get a photo shoot ready. But even after that, I just enjoy training. I enjoy how I feel after a long, hard session. I've been at the gym. I need to put that. Especially when I'm working from like the moment I wake up till about probably like the moment I go to bed, more or less. There comes a lot of stress with managing the business, and going to the gym gives me 2 hours of peace. My why for going to the gym is because it just gives me those 2 hours of peace, resets my brain for the evening so I can just, relax and go to bed. Even though my sleep has been very, very inconsistent in terms of waking up during the night. And I've been getting like these rashes on my arms, on my skin. I don't think it's anything serious. At least I hope not. I think it's just down to stress, like subconscious stress, and my body's just trying to do something. I don't know. But next question is going to be, I'm actually really proud at how well this run has gone. I'm definitely more happy with how the end result will be like. So, next question would be, what are your long and short term goals in the gym? So that, it'll be the photo shoot prep, and my long term goal would just be to just be in good shape. I want to, be in my 30s, 40s, 50s and still feel pretty young, still be able to do most things. And I feel like, building your body in your 20s is probably the best time to do it. Or building anything in your 20s, like building a business, building your future. It should all be done in your 20s because your future self will definitely thank you for it. Have you got a 5-year plan? Not written down. No. I've got goals I want to achieve by the time I hit 30. So I've got technically I don't know why I'm looking at my watch. I've technically got a 8 year plan in my head. I don't know how I'm gonna achieve it, but that's all part of my plan. Is I'm just gonna figure it out as I go along the way. Business wise, what are your goals for this year? Done that. Did you make any New Year's resolutions? Yes, I did. I did 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 14 New Year's resolutions for this year. I wrote them in the past tense, so every day before I journal, I'll read it in the past tense as if it's already happened. It was actually something I saw on an Instagram stories to write it in the past tense. So it kind of primes your brain to accept that it's already happened, and that will essentially motivate you more to work towards those goals. Again, I'm not a fan of using the word motivate, because not a lot of people are motivated in what they do. It's all about discipline. It's, again, using Kaizen, showing up every day, even if you don't want to. Show up every day. If you can't give 100%, even if you do 1%, that is still good enough. If you give 1% every day, you've given 365% of effort in a year, and that's a lot. Obviously, if you gave 100% every day, you'd be, exponentially further towards your, closer to your goals. But that's not always possible. Like, we do all burn out, and then we'll need to take a step back and then go again. So I don't know where I was going with that, to be honest. So that is most of the questions. I'm trying to figure out if there was anything else across my mind that I could go over. There is one other thing, which I was speaking to a friend this morning, is about how a lot of people need to start getting rid of cheap dopamine. When I mean cheap dopamine, I mean going out drinking. Now, I say that as I did go out drinking on the weekend. I'm pretty sure I did the other weekend before that. So I need to start listening to my own advice. Although I definitely have been able to say no more often. I'm really getting in the flow of work. All I want to do is wake up, go to the gym, do work. That's all I really want to be doing at the moment. So yeah, cheap dopamine is, stop going out drinking. It'll do you more bad than good. It's only going to last you a couple of hours, and then you'll spend the rest of the next day paying for it. Stop masturbating and watching porn. This is actually quite a massive one for me. I think for any guy, it's quite normal to to be watching it a bit too much. But I'd say it's probably one of the main factors that's really given me a new perception of life, my day-to-day life. I feel so much better, and looking back at it, I kind of almost see myself in disgust as to why I was doing it, because the way I put it to make sure I don't do it again is to basically say, you are masturbating over pixels, over people that don't even know you exist. And I'm slowly trying to get all of my male friends to stop it. Again, it doesn't happen in a week, doesn't happen in a day. But showing up every day, making sure you're not falling into the urge. Next thing you know it, you're a month in and you haven't even done it. And you feel like the urges have gone. Horny brain isn't there. In terms of horny brain, as in, you get horny and you will end up doing something you didn't think you would. Obviously there will be some times where you will get that, but eventually the urges just stop, and you can control yourself. You get a sense of self-control, which is always great. You come across differently. I'd say I am a lot more confident when I don't do it, because I'm retaining all that testosterone, and it just makes you feel better. It makes you feel stronger, especially at the gym. maybe that's why I'm also focused a lot more, because I just, like, it improves your focus. There's so many benefits from it, so I definitely recommend you guys to, obviously the males, to try it. Like, go for a week, maybe get back on it for like 1 or 2 days, 2 weeks, try 2 weeks the next time, and just build it up slowly and slowly. And then besides that, anything that gives you a dopamine rush quickly and easily, eliminate that. Playing video games. Yes, maybe you've got nothing to do on the weekend and you don't work on the weekend, but find something that's productive. Find something that, maybe learn a new skill. Go out, be with nature. Just do something different than the usual, than just staying at home, playing games. Essentially escaping reality, because we're not here for long. 70 to 100 years isn't very long when you think about it. When you think about how quick time has gone from, probably like the first memory you can remember to now. And start practicing more on delayed gratification. Delayed gratification is doing stuff for the long-term benefits, i.e. going to the gym. You don't get a six-pack 2 hours after you worked out. You get that over a period of time, and over, having a strict diet, doing your cardio, working out properly, and then eventually you will get it. Same with, building a business. Like, I'm still not where I want to be. And I actually had a friend of mine come to me with some help about, he wants to build something, he just doesn't know what, and he doesn't know what it could be. But the thing he said, he mentioned about money, and I caught him on that, and I said, look, you're doing it for the wrong reason. You're doing it for money, and if you're doing it for money, you're going to lose motivation very, very quickly. And I can say that from experience, because I wanted to be a YouTuber when I was younger, and the only reason why I was doing it was because of the money. And like, a month and a half into it, I was like, you know what, this is taking so long of my time, so much of my time. Fuck it, I'm not doing it anymore. And then fast forward, and I did this. I started this purely out of enjoyment. I enjoyed it, and I still do. And the byproduct of doing something you enjoy, as said by one of my clients, is that you get paid for it. And you'll feel really good at doing something that you enjoy. You get paid good money for it. And this is my concept of delayed gratification. Like, I've been doing this for 3 years. I'm still not where I want to be. Even if I do get to where I want to be, when I get to that point, I'll still say I'm not where I want to be. I think that's one of my toxic traits, is that I'm always looking for the next best thing, the next shiny object, like the next goal I can hit. When I hit one goal, I'll have another one. And I think it's almost like, the sky is the limit. But, that maybe there's something even more higher than the sky that my brain thinks of. And so it will just be, a lifelong battle of getting to that next best thing, which I reckon is what would happen to me. Practice delayed gratification and eliminate cheap dopamine hits. I can't actually think of anything else. However, that's actually going to be probably the end of this. So I'm pretty fucking impressed at how well this run has gone. And it's currently almost 20 to 11, so it means I get to treat myself to some breakfast. So I Don't know whether I'll wait to upload this or if I'll literally just get it on my PC, cut it up so it's a bit more seamless, and then just upload it. And then I'll also do an audio version so people can download it and listen to it. So yeah, I'll figure that out. If you've enjoyed listening to this, please just send me a message, letting me know that you've enjoyed it and what particularly you enjoyed about. If you didn't like it, let me know, because it still won't bother me, but at least I know to avoid you for next time. But yeah, this marks the end of my solo podcast / documentary vlog. I don't know what to call it. I might just call it a solo podcast or something like, I don't know, about me, some shit like that. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed listening / watching it. This is it.